Hi again, and welcome to another episode of Marisa and Friends. We are back here with Elise today, who is the same as me. We're both mediums, and we want to talk to you about getting the most out of your mediumship session. The first thing I want to talk about as far as mediumship is that we are not your fast food drive-through.
Not at all.
Because some people come in and they're like, I really want to hear from Aunt Betty or Uncle John or my dad or my mom. And they bring like hundreds of items from their house hoping like that person will come through. So usually that doesn't make them come through. They're going to come through whether they want to or not.
Exactly.
Okay. The second thing is that you can have expectations of what you want to hear, but it's really up to the spirit as to what is meant for you at the time. So while you may want to hear from mom, maybe Uncle Joe needs to come through because Aunt Betty's sick and he wants you to intervene and make sure that something doesn't happen to Aunt Betty. So you need to make sure that you're very aware of that.
Exactly what Marisa said. You need to have an open mind to make the reading really work for you and for us also. You can't come in with an expectation saying, oh, well, I want Uncle Joe to come through when Uncle Joe doesn't want to talk. It's actually Aunt Ethel that wants to come through.
Right. That's my grandmother's name.
Is it really? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Maybe she's coming through.
Hello, psych.
Anyway.
All right, here we go.
You never know what could happen here at Connection Beyond.
We're both wearing purple today, too.
That's right. Purple people here.
That's right.
It's really important to come into a reading when you can be objective and be okay with whoever comes through. You don't want to be grieving someone who newly passed. You don't want to be very anxious or very fearful, or we don't want to make your session worse because somebody else didn't come through. You need to be in a space where you're okay hearing from grandma or mom or your cousin or anyone else who would have passed. We can't guarantee you a specific person or message. It just doesn't work that way.
And you also want to be able to validate what's coming through. I mean, if you're in an emotional state, you may not be able to think, oh, well, I don't know what that means. And then you go home and it's after the fact and we can't really validate or go deeper into whatever the message is that's coming in for you.
Yeah, you can't be clear and think clearly because we need you to be on your feet too. In the same way that we're gaining information, you also need to be a little intuitive when it comes to your session because it's usually the first thing that comes to mind when we bring you some information. That could be a name, a date, how somebody passed. You need to be on the ball, and if you're really in an emotional state, you cannot think clearly, and then your session is going to be like so. But then you're going to take your notes home, and a month later you're going to say, oh my God, I went there and I didn't even realize all these people came through, and then you're missing out on all the information that they do want to tell you.
And usually, I mean, it's happened in the past where you have somebody come in with you for the reading and they're taking the notes. Or they might say, hey, they mean Joe, not that Joe, the other Joe. So you talk about psychic amnesia when they're getting a reading and they're not really seeing the full picture, and somebody that is aware of your situation or knows people that you know can come through and help validate and make the reading a little bit easier for you. Because it's a lot of information. When they come through, it goes fast and they give you a lot of information. And if you've been to one of Marisa's galleries, she'll stay on the topic and say, no, this is what it is. You can say, no, I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. And it's like, no, this is for you. So, it's not Marisa. It's actually the spirit coming through saying, listen, we got to get this message through. So they're pretty indignant when they need to be.
Yeah, and I won't get off of you. If you're in a session and they're adamant that it's for you, I would just tell you, write it down. I'm not going to negate it and try to make it fit with somebody else. It just... it wouldn't be worthwhile to you because it's really cool. Like 2 months later when something happens and if you didn't write it down, you wouldn't see that was, a validation from that spirit.
Right.
So it's so important that you really be aware that getting a mediumship reading is not to come for fun. Okay. It's not something to do as like you're going to the carnival or a bachelorette party. It's a very serious type of reading. It's for healing. It's to comfort you, and it's to let you know that there is life beyond this life. That is the purpose of a mediumship reading. It is not for entertainment. So even though we're funny and we laugh and we have a good time, mediumship is meant as a serious means of connection. And if you're not in that space and you can't really hear what we have to say, it's not going to be good for us. It's not going to be good for you. And it's certainly not getting the voice of whoever wants to come through and give you information heard. And that's what we are. We are mediums between this world and the next to bring you a message. All we are messengers. So if you come in with expectations that are beyond what we can help you with, you're going to be negating what really needs to come through from the universe.
Exactly. The other thing is when you being open to whatever comes through and not negate it. That's the thing. And don't question what comes through. There's a reason why that message is coming for you or coming to you.
Even if it's not what you want to hear.
Sometimes you don't want it, and
Yeah.
you know there could be someone that you
don't like.
You don't like in
Yeah.
the past life when they were here, and they have to have the last word with you because that's just how they. You know, it could have been like this person was the one that always had to have the last word, regardless.
That's right.
But it could be a message that you need, and that's the thing. It's something that they feel that they're around. They're making themselves known that they're around, and you know if you need a swift kick in the butt, you know if they feel you do, they're going to come through and say, hey, you know you got to cut it out.
And then you'll give them a swift kick in the butt.
I do.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because I mean, I'm like really fun and happy and playful, but when it comes to mediumship, I'm going to be, I don't know, a little bit on you if you are not listening or you're not participating or you're not being involved with the session, because this is not like, it looks easy. I mean, when you see it as an audience member, it looks like we're flowing, it looks easy. Mm-hmm. But the connection takes a lot of energy for the spirit to connect and for us to connect. And
right.
how I can liken that is to a fan. When you see a fan that's off, it's the vibration is of an earth energy. It's of a physical body vibration. You could see each pane of the fan. When it's on high, that's spirit vibration. You can't see each pane of the fan, but it doesn't mean the fan isn't there. When you turn the fan on to medium, you can see both. And that's the spirit has to come down in vibration, and we have to move up in vibration in order to actually hear, see, and feel what the spirit is trying to tell us.
And it can be very tiring too.
Yes.
So by the time
yes.
it's going into the last half hour of the gallery, at least for Marisa, I've noticed her level does tend to shift, and it may not be flowing as quickly as she would like. Or it's just the whole, maybe because I'm sensitive to it, but I could feel the room move in a different flow.
Yeah.
When you're starting to go into the next part, to the Q&A. So, you know, as you know, I mean, I started as a client of yours.
Yeah.
And you know, she's like, you need to be a medium, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to, but I did anyway. It just happened.
She followed in the footsteps.
I did, and that's the other thing. It was during a reading, and I followed what she suggested, and I'm glad I did, because I had reservations about doing it. And I was just like everybody else. I was going just to maybe hear from my grandmother, who always comes through anyway. But you know, if I hadn't listened to her and hadn't, you know, trusted in her, because I really don't think I would have been doing this at all.
Yeah, the universe has a sense of humor. They'll put people in our life for us to give them advice about stuff that we're going through, and then you kind of feel like an idiot after like the reading's over, because you're like, wow, like I was just in that situation and I didn't do that at all, and now I'm telling somebody else to do it. But it helps us to see what we have to do next time.
So do you think that's why they hooked us up together?
Yeah, probably.
I think probably. Doubt it.
And we're both wearing purple.
I know. What are the odds?
What are the odds?
No.
And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button so that you are emailed our videos every week. So Marisa and Friends and my weekly, whatever it is. Thank you again for coming and watching Marisa and Friends this week. We will see you next week with another episode. Have a great day.
Bye.